Hi, I'm Brett Ullman, and welcome to Parenting, Navigating Everything, the channel where we equip and empower you as a parent to navigate all aspects of parenting in this modern culture we live in today. If you have not yet clicked subscribe, please do, and you can keep updated on future weekly videos. Today, I want to talk about how our fear-based parenting might be negatively affecting our kids. Tim Elmore, I really love his writings and his blog. I'll put it down in the description. Wrote on his blog an article called 4 Parenting Strategies for Leading Generation Z. He says from this decade, I think this is late 1990s, adults began to believe that our world was less safe than ever, and kids needed oversight or direction at all times. So many began over-parenting their children, even teens, becoming helicopter parents. In case you don't know about parenting styles, I'll put a card above with an entire talk on 40-plus parenting styles. Back to the quote, karaoke parents who wanted to act like their kids, and lawnmower parents, I like that one, who mowed down anything or anyone in the way of their kids' success. It began to create 4 big changes. 1, kids began feeling entitled to special perks because we said that they're special. 2, kids began to feel unsafe, afraid, and even paranoid because of their parents' behavior. 3, kids began believing that they were fragile and couldn't handle adversity. And 4, kids began embracing the narrative that the world is full of evil people who could harm them. As I travel and speak, I see all of these things. I finished reading this article and I sat back and thought, this is literally what I see in every environment that I ever go in today. I'm recently speaking at a talk, and I'm doing my newest talk called, just like this channel, Parenting, Navigating Everything. And in part of this talk, I was talking about how I let my daughter Zoe go into downtown Toronto. I'm from a town called Ajax, about 45 minutes east of it. But I let her go into Toronto with a friend, just the 2 of them, in the last few weeks of school in grade 8. She's in grade 11 now. We talked about what it would be like to be downtown, where you keep your money and your phone and all this. They had a blast for the day, went out for Italian restaurant, did some Instagram, a place where they were filming and got some great shots. Then they got on the wrong train and started going away the other direction, had to correct themselves and came home. A woman comes up to me after my talk and she says, "You let your grade 8 daughter go into Toronto on her own?" And I corrected her and said, a few weeks away from being in grade 9, and she's not alone, she's with a friend. Didn't even seem to care what I just said. She looked at me and said, "Were you worried that she would be murdered?" I got to be honest, I'm a speaker. I rarely am at a loss for words, but I'm collecting my thoughts. She said murdered like it was a comedy show. And just as I was about to respond, another girl walked up, 18-year-old girl, this lady's daughter. And the mother said, he, pointing at me, let his daughter in grade 8, I said almost grade 9, go alone, I said with a friend, into Toronto. And the 18-year-old looked at me and said, can you imagine? Weren't you worried she'd be murdered? Like mother, like daughter. This girl is 18, and because of her mother's fear, she is terrified, paralyzed, fearful person, and worried that doing something as normal as going into the city for a day will get you murdered. I want you to take a few minutes after this video is done and reflect on your own parenting. Is there any fears that you have that might have migrated over into your kids' lives? Maybe it's driving. My daughter asked me when she was in grade 7 or 8 when she would get her license, and I said, when you're 16, that's when I did. And for years, we talked about the chance of beginning to drive. When she was 15, we would drive in a church parking lot. The day she turned 16 was a Sunday, and she was angry that she had to wait until the Monday. On the Monday, we went to get her license, went too late that day, and had to leave without her license. It's called the G1 in Canada. We went back on the Tuesday, and she got it. She then took driver's education, which allows her to get her G2, less rules, driving on her own, at 8 months instead of a year. And there were no slots locally anywhere where we live in the Durham region or into Toronto, so we actually booked an appointment in Lindsay. It's a town about an hour drive from our house. We went with her, and my daughter took her license in the first snowfall of the year. It was like blizzard conditions and then hail. She got it. And my son will do the exact same thing in less than a year. Do you know how many parents say, our car is big, there's lots of traffic, it's scary, and then in turn their kids say, our car is big, there's too much traffic, it's really scary, and we have numerous 20-plus-year-olds now without their license. How about getting a first job? Dating, going to camp. Both my kids will be away this summer at camp for the majority of the summer. My daughter will be a counselor. It's a camp called Minneoe, and a lifeguard. And my son will be doing the LIT Leadership and Training Program. When I told someone they would be away, they asked, "You let your kids go away for the summer?" I said, yes, the experience is life-changing for them. It's not about me. Will I miss my kids? Dearly. To quote Ted Cunningham, the pastor in the United States, wrote a book called Trophy Child. He says, "They will not be with me forever, so I will prepare them accordingly." My kids are just a few years away from university, and if they choose to go away from school, if they choose to go away from our house and live away at school, my wife and I need to make sure that we have prepared them for all aspects of being away from home. Please don't hear me wrong. Not all kids do things at the same ages, and that's okay. I'm not talking about things that they're not doing because of their own decisions, but because you are a fear-based parent. We need to think, how are you holding back your kids because of your own fears? What do you need to do to encourage your kids to actually break free from some of those things that's actually your problems and not theirs? Love to hear your thoughts on this. I'll talk to you soon.